All right, guys. Welcome to the show. This is our first episode of the Askwillandjosh show. My name is William Agnew. I got my co-pilot over here, Mr. Joshua Gray.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? I'm a little excited about this, Josh.
Me too. It's been a long time in the making, man.
It has
It's been a couple of years since we've been off. You know, for a while we were doing webinars every month.
Man, we were putting out some content.
We were putting out a lot of content back then. We kind of removed ourselves to kind of get re-engaged and deeper engaged into the business of what we actually do.
Actually, we like to say we went back to school.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Yeah, we went back, started some new businesses,
right,
and learned this industry a little bit deeper than what we had known before. And now we're on our journey to re-educate and help you guys learn how to fish.
Get back in front of
than we did before.
Yeah, it feels like we're getting back in front of the classroom.
Yeah,
actually,
that's the truth, man. Because we've been so far removed now.
Yes.
With the blessings of where we've been able to be at, and that the business kind of runs without us having to be a part of it day in and day out.
Absolutely.
For better or for worse. Some things,
well, some things we can't control, right?
Some things we can't control yet, but we'll be improving some things as well. But,
For sure.
It's a big focus now. It does feel good to be back.
It does feel good to be back. And it feels good to be talking to you guys again. Actually, we always say this, like Josh and I have been knowing each other for quite some time. We've actually been in business together almost 10 years now. And we've been having basically a 10-year conversation up until this point. And basically the way I look at it, and I know Josh kind of feels this way too, is like the only difference between what we're doing now that you guys see us doing right here, right now, is we're having the conversation with you guys. We're bringing you guys into the fold, into our day-to-day conversations pretty much. Right. And so what we talk about, we have some debates, we have some agreements, we have some we have some frustrations. Right. We get it in, and this is every day. Yeah. This is every day. Yeah.
Literally, it's a roller coaster daily.
It is.
Celebrations to frustrations to, everything in between.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, we said like we're going back to school, but we feel like, I think what Josh and I realized, and if most of you guys know our story, some of you guys may know our story, some of you don't, we'll get into that in a little bit later, but it's been a journey for us. And in this journey, we literally took some time off to really understand kind of what we said before, to get a better understanding of what we did not understand.
Right.
And we were at this point where we thought we knew more than we really knew.
Right.
Because the thing about this mobility industry is it is huge.
It's multifaceted.
There's
huge. A lot of sides to this thing. And I think we have known a lot, but we just knew one side of it.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't know the other sides that we just embarked on and learned over the last several years.
Exactly. Right? And we see a lot of people that like that too.
Right.
Actually, the majority of people we actually meet are specific to one aspect of the industry.
It's a niche inside of a niche.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And I can say the thing that we can bring to the table now, that we do bring to the table, that I feel really, really good about, is we've done this thing from beginning. We started with the repair business back in 2008. Where I think, in my opinion, maybe 80-90% of people who get into this industry kind of get in through repairs, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's that? That's you or me?
That might be.
No, that's you.
Oh, that's me.
Let me go ahead. Yeah, and that's really what it is. Most people do come into the business through repair. So to kind of back up and let you guys know. So this is our first official episode of the Askwillandjosh show.
Yes.
This show is really going to be for you.
It is.
It's going to be heavily focused on mobility repair, cell phone repair, since that's what we do. That's the vehicle we chose. That's our niche and industry. But inside of that, there's a lot of different things that we talk about, right? Things that we've learned through the year that make us who we are and help us help you, from developing your teams to developing yourself to really understanding entrepreneurialism. Right?
Exactly.
That was a little tongue-tied.
There. It's loud.
It's been a long week, too.
That's what happens.
There's a lot going on.
You got to shake that dust off, Josh.
And exactly. And we're rusty. But, this is what we do day in and day out.
Absolutely.
So, really, this is all about sharing that journey with you guys and helping you wherever you might be in your journey.
Absolutely. And I think we should do for people who don't know us. So, you guys who do know us, again, we've been off the map a little bit. We're back, right? But for you that don't know us, you guys that don't know us, again, we've been in this business for 10 years. And what we want to do is just kind of give you guys a little bit of an understanding. Why do you need to listen to us? Why would you want to listen to us? Even if you don't need to, why would you want to? Why do we feel like we should be talking to you guys?
Right.
And I think it's important for us to put that out there to help the guys understand, like, who are these guys and why should I be listening to these guys? And so, Josh, if you want, I'll just go ahead and give you the mic and let you kind of give your Reader's Digest of your story, how you actually got into this.
It's a long story. So, if you don't know me, you might not have heard this before. Even if you do, maybe you didn't know all these aspects of it. But I'm going to try to keep it really short. I can get long-winded when I start talking about my past.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I got a lot of years behind me now, so the past is longer, right? There's a lot more to talk about. But I've been a serial entrepreneur for, over 2 decades now. From everything from a record company to real estate to, I started literally off when I was a teenager, started, cutting grass back in Hawaii.
For sure.
And did that and had helped some of my friends at the time help me with the grass business. So I was just talking to my wife about that the other night, kind of how I got started in this journey. And it went back as early as then. Mm-hmm. Went into the corporate world for a little bit, which actually, was a blessing. I didn't really know. I did the thing that, they always tell you to do is go to school, get a good job, and do all that. But it just never felt right. And I don't know why, but it just never felt like it was the right fit for me. But I did learn a lot actually working for, a Fortune 500 company and really seeing what it is to have a powerful corporate culture and, to be a part of a team from, basically at the engineering level all the way up into more of a management level. Mm-hmm. So it taught me a lot about teams and development and running efficient companies. So anyways, through all of that, I ended up landing in cell phone repair back in around 2008 or so. Ended up because it was just a hard time in my life back then. Right. I was doing real estate for many, many years up to that point. And the way I was doing real estate is I did use OPM, other people's money, but a lot of back then I was fortunate enough to be able to use my money in some deals as well.
Right.
So I was doing that, especially because I was getting pretty leveraged into a lot of different deals. I was buying single-family properties, fixing them up, keeping them as rentals, fixing them up, turning around and selling them, just depending on what it was for each deal. Got to a place where I just couldn't do it, not just because of what was going on in the market, but also because in my personal life, my wife had decided that she wanted to go a different direction at that time. And man, it was a big blow financially, a big blow emotionally. Combine that with everything that was going on in the market, it was just a really tough time in my life, man. Right. And was looking for a new path. Kind of stumbled into a buddy of mine, Oreo.
Shout out Oreo.
Shout out to Oreo.
Shout out Oreo.
Right, put me on my path. So he was a college buddy of mine.
This guy owes you some money, Oreo.
I don't know about. Let's not go that far.
I'll let him.
Let's not go that far. Hey, to this day, actually, you met Oreo.
Yeah,
to this day, we still do some things together.
Right.
Nothing but love for my dude, man. We've known each other for many decades, but had lost touch there for a while because I had moved to Arizona. He had stayed in Dallas, right? And after I graduated college, we stayed in touch, but I didn't get to see him that often. Mm-hmm. Well, I decided to come take a trip to clear my mind, so I came back to Dallas for like a month and a half just to hang out with my family, and just kind of figure out where I was going. Went and met up with Oreo to talk about a deal he was trying to bring me in on, which was reggaeton music, and that's his passion,
yes,
right, and what he loves,
yes,
and he knew that I had a little capital to work with, and he was trying to put a team together to be able to do something. Was really exciting. Now looking back on it, actually, that was a really exciting path that we could have went down together as well. I just don't speak Spanish, so I don't really know the music that well.
Right.
Didn't understand it. Right. I knew what sounded good.
You felt it.
I felt it, but it all kind of started to feel the same, and I didn't understand the market.
For sure.
So I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I remember we were sitting around actually one night. We got some Wingstop, lemon pepper wings, right, from Wingstop.
Oh, my God.
And we're sitting there eating his lemon pepper wings, right? And he had brought over one of his artists that was on his label at the time. And we were just sitting around talking and, figuring things out. And I just happened to look back in the corner, and there was a stack of phones.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, man, what are you doing with all of these phones? It was odd because it just didn't fit into anything else that he had in his house. Literally was a big, like a double stack all the way to the ceilings of phones.
I mean, that's hard to miss, bro.
Yeah,
you can't miss
it stood out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
To the point to where I interrupted our conversation. Was like, "What are you doing with all these phones?"
And
man?
this is back in 2008. 2008.
Yeah, so it's a long time ago.
What phone was hot then? It was like iPhones and
Blackberries. Man. A lot of Blackberries and stuff. So, he got to kind of telling me how he was doing this on the side. Right, his passion was this music thing.
For sure.
But he was doing this on the side to raise capital to be able to do this. Right, so. As he was explaining it to me, I was like, "Oh man, there might be something there."
Yeah,
I couldn't sleep that night.
That was your
home.
That was your moment.
Yeah, I got home and I'm like, "Man, there's something to this."
Yeah,
right. And I couldn't put my finger on it, so I started doing some research, and literally within a week, I was in the business. I was fully in.
Yeah,
because it just made sense to me. It fit everything that I was looking for. I could get in with not having to risk a whole lot of capital back then.
I was about to ask you, what are the things that made you with the slip? So you slept on it.
Yeah.
Obviously you slept on it, but what is that thing that spoke to you that said, this is exactly why this opportunity is great for me?
Straight away. So first thing I went out and I started doing research on suppliers, right? What does it look like? How easy is it to get parts?
Yeah.
And what do the profit margins really look like?
Right.
And I was fortunate enough that I had a friend that was in the business.
Right.
So he was schooling me on to where to go to get parts back then.
Right.
Where he was buying parts.
Right.
So I just did the math.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, okay, how much are you charging on Craigslist? He's charging $100 to fix a phone.
Right.
Right. And I do the math. Oh, you're getting the part for $25-$30.
Right.
Man, this is 20-30 minutes worth of work. I'm like, this ain't bad. And for me, I wasn't looking at it from a perspective of Josh is going to do the repairs.
Right.
I'm looking at it from a perspective
Scalability.
of, what's the scalability?
For
So
sure.
part two was, yes, the margins look healthy. Let me look at the competition.
Right.
Like, it was non-existent.
Yes.
There was really nobody there, which was scary looking back because it could have been that there was no demand for this.
Right.
Right? Well, just what I had seen with my own eyes.
Right.
Made sense.
Yes.
Right. And the fact that there was a marketplace.
Well,
to get parts.
this guy, your friend, right?
Yeah, he was making good money doing this.
And he had
man.
phones to the ceiling, so
Yeah,
you knew it.
He was behind. Like, he couldn't catch up.
Right.
That's how big the demand was.
Right.
He said literally he was getting 20, 30 calls a day off Craigslist, man.
Yeah.
So it just made sense as I was doing research, right?
Off Craigslist.
So that was part two of what it was for me, is I wanted not only something that looked like it had good margin,
Right.
it was a growing industry, right?
Yeah.
The smartphones really just started to come in. Back then, I still had a Palm Trio, bro.
Yeah.
Tell you how old this was, right?
It was the flip phone era, right?
There was still flip phones back then.
Yeah.
The Razor was hot.
Razor was hot, right?
The Razor was hot.
I know you guys remember the Razor, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The V3 Razor.
Oh my God, it was
That's the
sexy.
one.
That was a sexy phone back in the day.
one, man.
Everybody wanted that phone.
But the smartphones were really just starting to take off, and I had that Palm because I was doing stuff with my real estate, and it made sense because I could access lock boxes. I could do a lot of cool things that you couldn't do with the Razors.
Yes.
Right? But nobody really had adoption of those types of phones back then.
Yes.
But I could kind of see a trend where there was something that was going to change. And I don't know, man. I've always been kind of fortunate enough to see trends and patterns.
Yeah.
And for me, it was one of those things where I just seen, man, like, this is going to be a huge industry.
Right.
It was already existent, but really non-existent from a retail aspect of it.
And your technical background, you had a technical background.
And it was a perfect fit too, right? Because I understood the technology.
Right.
Right. It wasn't anything for me to really be able to tear these things apart and start to really understand how they operate.
Yeah.
And it was pretty straightforward.
I mean, you work for a Fortune 500 technical company.
Doing I was a field service engineer. So this is nothing to me, right?
Exactly.
I was working on $1 million worth of equipment and running teams.
Exactly.
This is, a $100 handset or whatever it was back then. Is nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing but something.
Right. Exactly. And I knew it was, but I knew there was something there. So anyways, Reader's Digest version. Dove in with both feet, opened the store, and I'm like, man, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to build this franchise.
I remember you telling me. I remember we took a trip to Vegas. And it was us, and it was me, you, and the homeboys.
Yeah.
And we went to Vegas. And
shout out to the crew, too.
Yeah, shout out to the crew. Shout out to the fellas back in Phoenix. And I remember me and you knew each other, but we didn't really know each other.
Yeah, we didn't spend time like that.
Right.
We were on this
But we were
business.
cool. Yeah. We had close friends, associates.
Yeah, we always got together. We always hung out like a couple times a month. We'd all get together and hang out, shoot pool.
And I remember you telling me very specifically, I still remember to this day, you were like, man, I could tell you were excited about it. It was a transition in your life. And I just remember you, hey, man, I got this opportunity. I'm doing this thing. I'm getting in this. And to me, it was so foreign, even me being, because we worked at the same place, right? Same company. And so the Fortune 500 company, technology company. And I just saw it in you as a transition in you, and I saw you were very excited about it, but I couldn't understand it, so I didn't feel it.
Right.
I didn't feel it. I didn't see it at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's that thing you got to experience.
Yeah, and it was fresh too, because I remember when we took the trip to Vegas together, the store literally had only been open for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
It really wasn't open that long yet.
Right.
But I had already seen literally the day we opened doors. We were profitable from day one.
Right.
So I had already seen where we were going, and I knew, like, this is going to be some shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be something here.
From day one, right? It was like, hey, we just got to scale it up. It was all about scalability because it made sense.
Right.
It totally made sense, supply and demand. It just made total sense.
Right.
And where devices were going with the glass, right?
Exactly.
That made even more sense.
Yeah, back then it was still plastic
It's
screens
still plastic
and different things, but...
Yeah, but you could see it coming. You could see it coming for sure.
Yeah, way ahead, man. So that's actually how I ended up in this space in the first part. And it's interesting because I actually, to your point, and I'll let you tell your story, but, that night, I don't think me and you really started doing business together in mobility. It still was like several months had passed after we hung out in Vegas that weekend. Right?
Absolutely.
It didn't click with you yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I was still with the company that we both worked for probably another, I would say at least maybe 6-7 months. I mean, I was on the down end of it, the downturn of it. And actually, you know what? I might be mistaken. I think I was done. But what I did do, I mean, in my story, just to tell you guys a little bit about my story, just to kind of jump ahead, I downsized because I did not want to go back to corporate America.
Right.
So what I did is I had the option, like I had been working for corporate America. I did really well. I had a little bit of money saved. So what I wanted to do was just take my time and figure out what it was I wanted to do without rushing back into it.
Right.
Right. And so what I did is I very logically and very methodically, I downsized. Right. So I could stretch out that money. Right. And take my time. And so I was out of work for about a year or two, I think, looking for the opportunity that you had already mentioned before, but I didn't know that was the opportunity.
Right.
And I like to refer to it as my ace moment. And, I kind of tell this story. I told this story to Josh before, but my ace moment, if any of you guys know the movie, it's kind of an urban classic. It's called Paid in Full. There was a guy on that show by the name of Ace Boogie. Ace Boogie was kind of a square guy to the rest of the fellas. Other fellas were like hustlers in the street. They were street hustlers. And Ace Boogie was a kind of a straight, his mom raised him right, so he didn't get into the street. He was kind of that guy. So he used to work at the laundry, and one day he was doing laundry. He was going to pick laundry up, and he ran into this guy who was a drug dealer, basically, and he was the connect. And his name was Lulu. And anyway, he had gotten Lulu's clothes, taken them back to the laundry, and he found a big rock of cocaine. He knew what it was because he was from the hood, right? But he didn't know drugs, but he knew what it was. He didn't do it. Yeah, he didn't do it. Yeah,
he knew about it. Right?
He knew about it. And so he took it back to Lulu. Lulu, being the honorable guy he is, he was like, "Hey, you left something." And Lulu said, "Hey, it's not mine, it's yours. As a matter of fact, go tell your friends about it." So it was neither here or there. Ace, he took it back and he put it in his pocket. He kind of sat on it for a couple of days. He thought about it. Again, he used to see the guys hustling in the street, so he wanted the cars, he wanted the the Saabs, the Furs, all of those things, but he really didn't understand the hustle. He didn't have the hustle in him at that point. And then what happened was he was going up to his building. He was going to his building. He was going up to his apartment. And one of the guys who used to buy from one of the dealers in his apartment asked him if he had some work. And the guy who he had normally bought from had been arrested. So, Ace kind of thought about this thing, and he was like, "Well, I got some drugs in my pocket. Let me see how this works out." So he literally gave the guy the crack, cocaine, or whatever it was, the cocaine. And it was at that moment he gave him the whole thing. He gave him way too much. As a matter of fact, he gave him way too much. But it wasn't even about that. The parallel is, and why I call it my Ace moment is because that is the exact moment where Ace realized there was an addiction to that product. Right? That people had an addiction to that product. Right. And there was opportunity to capitalize on that addiction. Right. Now, I'm not a fan of drug dealing. I just use this story to make a point because it's almost parallel to exactly what happened to me when I walked into your store that day. Yeah. Right. Because Josh and me and Josh, like we said, we had met before. He had mentioned that he was doing this. And about 8 months later, I had introduced him to a guy who wanted to meet him because he wanted to do some business with him. So I said, I'll take you to see Josh. I know this guy that owns a cell phone repair store. And so I took him in. And when I went in, it just so happens that day, this lady walked in. I was waiting. We waited about 40 minutes and because it was busy that day. And the lady walked in and she literally said this. Was my ace moment. This was my ace moment. She said, "I am so glad you guys are here. I broke my phone 3 times this week and you guys fixed it every time." And it was at that moment where I had my ace moment where I realized there's an addiction to this thing. Right. This lady was happy to be paying to get her phone fixed. Right. She was happy. She was happy that she said it. "I'm glad you guys are here. I've broken my phone 3 times and you guys fixed it every time." And it was then it went, oh my goodness. There's something here.
Well, part 2 of that I always remember too.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, that day, I couldn't get to you. We were supposed to meet at like, I think you and Georgia showed up around like noon,
Yes.
12:30,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
store opened at 10.
Yes.
But a lot of times the first couple of hours would just allow the technicians to kind of get caught up on work from the day before.
Right.
For whatever it was, parts coming in or whatever. And we didn't usually start getting busy until around lunchtime.
Right.
And it just so happened you came in right at surge period.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you telling the story of how you were sitting on the couch and I had you on ice. Not purposely, it's because we were busy.
You're busy, yeah. You
right?
didn't have the
So
time.
I couldn't get to you quite yet.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had you on ice for like 40
and
minutes.
It was a business meeting anyway, so you had to have time to take
right, to actually be able to
yeah.
take away and give the focus,
Yeah,
right?
for sure, yeah.
And my partner, I think, had stepped out or something like that at the time. So anyways, but I had you sitting there for like 40 minutes until I could get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you saying like the door was swinging and we had that chime on the door that would go ding,
Ching,
dong,
ching.
ding,
Yep.
dong, ding, dong. And then you heard
Ching,
ding, dong
ching,
change
ching,
into cha-ching, cha-ching. And it was the whole purpose of the meeting in your mind had shifted from that point. So we went from that activation MLM thing that you guys were talking about.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it ended up turning into, it was like, I think you came back like a couple of days later.
Yeah,
You went and sat on it. You
Yes.
hit me up and you showed back up and we got lunch.
Yes.
And we started putting something together.
And you guys got to understand, I was at this point in my life where I was searching. Like, I did not want to go back to corporate America. I was making close to 6 figures a year. I had a graduate degree, master's degree. I thought I had the American dream. And a lot of people, and some of you guys listening might feel that way too. Like, man, I thought this is what I wanted. But when I got there, I realized it didn't fulfill me.
Right.
And that's what it was. So I was taking time off and I was really searching for what I wanted to do. And I literally was working at Target, guys. I was working at Target on the late night, stocking boxes with a master's degree. When I went in to apply for that job, people were looking at me like I was actually crazy.
Overqualified.
Yeah, like what in the heck? What is going on with you? I mean, is it that hard? Is time that hard? And I was like, no, I just don't want to commit to something that I don't want to do until I understand exactly what it is that I want to do.
Right.
And so this thing was like a lot. Like if it could fall in my lap, like it was like it fell right. Like you talk about things falling in your lap or things being the perfect timing for you, right? And I do believe that a lot of everything is like timing. Right. Some of you guys might be hearing what we're talking about right now, and it might be the perfect time for you to hear this message.
Right.
You know what I mean? Things happen like that for
it's
real,
true, man.
And so it happened for me. And so the Reader's Digest of that is, 10 years later, right? We've done quite a bit of stuff, and I think it's a great transition to talk about what we have accomplished.
Yeah,
so what have we accomplished?
And to kind of back it up, right? So if you've known us for a while, you know us probably through Cellular Repair School.
Right.
Right. So Cellular Repair School was founded several years after actually the retail stores were running, right? And it was because there was a gap in the marketplace, right? And what I had known is, I wanted to franchise, and in my mind, one of the most important things to a franchise is your ability to develop your people and give support.
Wow,
right? Completely lacking in the industry. Mm-hmm. It was completely lacking. It was gone.
Yes.
So I said, hey, let's start a school. Just so happened, William is like a dean. Like literally, he was teaching classes.
Right.
In fact, you were doing that for a while.
Absolutely.
You were teaching classes at ITT. Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of experience as an instructor, right? And brought you in and taught you the mobility side of stuff. Mm-hmm. And we jumped off and decided to offer classes to the public while we were honing. The whole purpose was actually to hone in how to train our own franchisees in the franchise that we were going to develop.
Exactly.
Completely fell in love with teaching and decided that we fell out of love with franchising.
Yes.
In this industry, I just don't. For me personally, I didn't feel that it was necessary.
Right.
Not hating on any franchises that are out there. There are some good ones, but a lot of them are kind of unnecessary.
Right.
Right. And for me, that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. We wanted to be more on the teach a man to fish as opposed to give a man to fish.
For sure. No regrets, by the way. No regrets.
Zero regrets on that. And that's what we did. We put more of a focus on the education through Cellular Repair School, and built the first online training platform for cell phone repairs. And it's been a fun journey since then.
Man, I'm telling you, I like I said, I agree with you 100%. No regrets. I actually think that we would have limited ourselves as far as development, as far as what we wanted to accomplish, and we'll get to that next. The why we do it. It was a great segue to why we do it. But I think based on why we do what we do and what we're trying to bring to you guys right now and bring to this industry and the mission and the purpose and all of those things we have, it was the perfect decision for us to make to get into the education part, because one thing you're going to hear me and Josh talk about consistently over and over and over and over is the importance of understanding people. It's the importance of people development. It's the importance of self-awareness. It's the importance of everything that has to do with communicating, right, and finding value in people. And I think that's the thing that's gotten us the most success,
for sure,
especially with the education piece, right?
For sure.
And so it literally was like it prepared us, right, to get to where we are today and be able to do what we do today, which is offer, right, this offering of giving back to this industry, right?
And again, that's honestly at the end of the day, that's what we're hoping to accomplish with this show.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see it's an informal environment for us, right? This is
sure.
something that we're doing really just to kind of give back and educate and help people on your journeys, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you haven't decided to take the leap into this business or any business, for a matter of fact, or if you're already in this business, we're going to really kind of shed light on some of the dark areas of this business to help you be more successful.
Exactly.
Because that, man, we've been down the rabbit hole, guys. That's where we've been for the last 2.5 years, you know, from spending a lot of time in China to dealing with supply chain to working with the tier one, you know, carriers. We do work for the carriers today.
Yes.
You know, on all sorts of different levels and capacities. So, you know, I can truly say now that I feel like we actually know all aspects of this business compared to where we used to be, where it was just the retail side.
Right.
Now we know, you know, the wholesale, the retail, the parts supply chain.
Right.
You know, the carrier side, the insurance game.
Yes.
Literally the whole, you know, from the rooter to the tutor.
And there's so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity. That's one thing we often see is we often see people who get caught up in just one aspect and not really open to either not open or don't fully understand or aware of all the possibilities that this industry holds and that can be unlocked. And you can benefit from. And so we want to bring that awareness to you guys also, because we want you to be able to capitalize in the right way. We don't want anyone taking, because it's enough that the thing about this industry is it's so mega huge. It's so, and we're just talking, we're not talking just national, we're talking international. This is a world demand. And that's why I say, like,
and in developing countries, man, it's amazing to see some of the things we see in third world countries.
Absolutely.
Right now, you know, on the repair fronts and where technology is going for those guys, it's changing their lives.
It is.
It's changing lives.
It is. And it's a lot of opportunity, guys, a lot of opportunity. We see it. We continue to see it. We've seen it for the past 10 years. We continue to see it. And I think that's a great segue into why we do it. What is our purpose? What is our mission? What are we trying to bring to this industry by doing this, Josh? What are we trying to? What is the thing we want people to jump on board with us with and kind of feel where we're coming from and
you know,
what we're doing?
It actually is. It's kind of multi-tiered. There's a lot of different things, right? Especially that I want to use this vehicle that we're creating now. You know, the podcast and the videos. We used to do this a lot, actually. Several years ago, we used to do. We were the only ones.
Yes.
Right. That were doing, you know, videos on YouTube and webinars. We used to do live webinars every month.
Absolutely.
Where we did free education.
Yes.
Every month to whoever wanted to come and attend. And we'd had hundreds of people, 700, 800 people. I think the very last webinar we had well over 1,000 live on that webinar.
For sure. We used to do it.
And we've been out of the game for 2.5 years because we went back to school, right? We've been building basically the largest cell phone screen refurbishing company in the U.S., doing it specifically for the carriers and large insurance companies, you know, and it's been a fun journey the last couple of years, really learning this business. So now the goal is to really help standardize things, man. You know, like the problem that I've seen, and we've always seen this, but I see it so differently now, and you know this better than anybody,
right?
Is there's a lot of shady things that happen in this business, man. It's still a gray market, which is why I think it's funny that, you know, when you talk about the ACE moment, right? Because there's parallels that run with the drug game from what I see to what happens in this business.
For sure.
You know, at the end of the day, I don't condone drugs or anything like that. But
the parallel is
it's a business.
It's
man,
a product, right?
It's a business, illegal or legal, whatever it is. It's a business.
Yes.
And you have entrepreneurs, some for real entrepreneurs that do that.
There's supply and demand.
And exactly.
Absolutely.
And the demand for the product and the way things operate, there actually could be a lot of parallels. And in this space, it's still so Wild West that a lot of real shady things happen.
Yes.
And a lot of people get taken advantage of.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who get stolen from. And,
which is what we hate to see.
It's really bad, man. You know, I see people struggling, putting their life savings and blood, sweat, and tears into these businesses, and they're failing, and they don't even know why.
Yeah, a lot of it is ignorance. A lot of it is just they're not aware.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, they just don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And you think that it's the way it was. A perfect example, and not to get too deep on this, right? So what I want to use this channel for, though, is really to shed light and to educate you guys, so you can ask us questions and we can be accessible, because we've been a little unaccessible over the last several years. But I want to make sure that we're here to share our knowledge with you to help you wherever you are. Again, one of the things that I've seen time and time again, though, is even for us back when we were doing retail stores, is we thought that, oh, we're buying OEM parts and this is the part. We didn't even know what we were getting, right? And we're literally pawning junk onto our customers, thinking that it's good quality, not knowing, right? Because the game is so shady that people sell you things that are not what they seem, right? And until you know, you don't know.
You don't know,
right?
Oh, until you know, you think it is, right?
You don't know any different.
We used to go. I mean, and this was our ignorance, which was the reason why we actually felt the need to go back to school, in a sense, is because and I think everybody starts here, and it's the wisdom of experience, right? Because a lot of times you don't know until you, Josh, can you hit that okay for me real quick? A lot of times you don't know until you do know, right? And that is time and experience. That's the only thing that's going to give you that. So it goes back to what I was saying before about going down the education road. What going down the education road really helped us understand is that we didn't know some of the things that we needed to know. Right. And so it literally forced us to take the time, right, to say, well, hold it, Nelly, hold up. Let's not spread. And let's not be a part of the problem. Let's be a part of the solution. Let's go figure it out. A real solution. Let's understand it. Let's go figure it out. Let's go to China, right? Let's go build some businesses and serve some higher tier customers and understand supply chain and understand part validation and understand all of these things, right? That we're going to be talking about and that you guys need to know. That's going to change grading. That's going to change your perspective. Not only that, change your business and change this industry for the better.
That's right.
Right. So I think that sums up in a nutshell why we are doing, because we've seen the dark side. It's like we've seen the dark side, we've seen the mountaintop, right? And we understand that the mountaintop is a lot better for everybody, and we understand that this industry is so diverse, it's so multifaceted. There's so much opportunity for everybody to participate and everybody to do really well without. And what happens, I really want to say this, and what happens when it's not done properly, it's just like any other industry. When the customer is the end customer, the end user is either taken advantage of or lied to, or, is not happy for reasons beyond their control. It puts a black eye on the entire industry.
That's right.
The entire industry.
That's right.
And that's what we don't. We've been in this thing too long. We have too much passion for it.
See it happening. I've seen it, over the last several years too. I see it happening where more and more retail operators are really struggling. Man, guys are going out of business right now. Right? With the introduction of the copy screens. And lack of quality control and people again not knowing what they're buying. It's literally like overdosing on cut drugs, man. You know what I mean? Because these guys are taking this stuff not knowing, and they're going OD, and their businesses are dying. Literally. So, for us, we want to help change that, right? There's just so many things that are basic that can be done smarter and better with the right information and the right knowledge.
For sure. Right. So I think episode one.
Yeah. Again, what was our point? Really, just to reintroduce you guys to us. If you haven't known us, if you do, definitely go to cellularrepairschool.com. Check out some of our old videos. Check out our YouTube channel. We've been around for a long time, putting out a lot of content for many years. This is just episode one to reintroduce ourselves after the silence. Because it's been silent. We wanted to tell you where we are, but we're going to be doing this over a series of podcasts and videos to get deeper and deeper into that, and then start getting into real meat and potatoes on how to put some impactful things in your life and your business that can change things for the better.
Absolutely. You guys can go follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook at Cellular Repair School. Also, we Askwillandjosh on Instagram. You can just go say hi. Follow
introduce
us.
Yourself.
Exactly. Because we're going to be taking questions. One part of this show that we're going to be doing in the future is we're going to be actually taking questions from you guys. Right?
Live call-ins,
because we know you guys got a lot of questions, and we're here to close those gaps. We want to answer those questions for you guys. So it's going to be a fun ride. I'm excited about it. This is episode one. I think You guys should know. For you guys that didn't know us, maybe you know us a little bit better now. For you guys who are asking where we went, I hope you guys understand that now, right? We had to re-educate ourselves, and we did it for not only ourselves, we did it for the industry, and we did it for you guys. We're really passionate, and we're really transparent about that, and we really want to let you guys know that we rep for this industry. We rep for this industry, and hopefully you understand why we do what we do now. Yeah. You know, and later episodes, we're going to be hitting. I think, Josh, I think this format works. What do you think? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, obviously, I'd be curious to hear from you.
Yes.
You know, you tell us what you'd like to see and whether this works or not. I know this one, we're not getting into meat. A lot of times, I always go back to when we were doing webinars and everybody wants to see that meat. Like, oh, well, how do you fix this? How do you solder this one particular problem and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I will say that, you know, this isn't really the platform for that.
Yes.
If you want that sort of stuff, you go to the school for
that.
Yeah,
you can go to school, cellularrepairschool.com.
This is mostly like high-level thinking, strategy, industry information, and really teaching you how to be a smarter, better entrepreneur.
Yes. And development, guys. Self-awareness, self-development, business development. Yeah, how to develop your teams. All of that is what we find to be really important. And then you add the skills to that, and you can't be stopped. Right. And so that's kind of what it is. And again, if you do want to go get the skills, cellularrepairschool.com is always open, ready, and available to serve you guys in any way that you need it. And you'll be learning more about what we have to offer.
Yep.
Because we'll be changing that also, and not changing.
There's a lot of changes coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes coming. A lot of what we've learned throughout the years is being built into the new platforms that we have, and you know, we're excited to be sharing all these things with you guys that are really going to make a difference in your lives.
Absolutely. So, Josh, I think
let's close it up.
Close it up. Let's go ahead and toast a little toast to episode 1.
Episode 1 in the can.
In the can.
It's good to break the spell of silence.
Exactly. It's good to be back with you guys. Just to hear our voices is good, and to hear you guys in the future, you know, talk to us and talk back to us and tell us what you need, what you want, you know, what you're looking for.
I'm excited.
I am totally.
I'm excited. You know what? One of the things that I used to love so much back when we were involved in day-to-day operations of the school was the feedback that we would get, and literally taking the phone calls, you know, being in touch with our students and getting that. And now, you know, you still hear things, but it's not, we don't always directly interact because now it's coming through our team more than anything else. Exactly. So I'm excited to be back in touch with you personally,
absolutely,
and to share how I feel about things and really to hear what you're struggling with and how we can help.
Absolutely.
You know?
All right. So we're going to sign it off.
Let's go.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Askwillandjosh Show. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, guys. See you next time.